Hagar, and then he got the Midianite woman Keturah. Okay, so the promised son came from who? Sarah. Then you have the son of the lust and the flesh from who? The Egyptian woman. His name is Ishmael. All right. They're the one that we call today, or they call themselves the Arab. All right. And then you have who? The son of Keturah. So keep in mind, the son of Keturah. So Abraham took another wife, and her name was what? Keturah. So keep that in mind. So Abraham has another wife after the death of Sarah, and her name was what? Keturah. So Keturah, I think Abraham has up to, I think, 5 or 6 sons with Keturah. So keep in mind, right? Son of Abraham by Keturah, right? Let's go to Genesis 25. This is the book of Genesis chapter 25 verses 1. Then again, Abraham took a wife. You see, as I said it. Okay? Okay? Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. And she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, that make it 2, and Medan, that make it 3, and Midian, that make it 4, Ishbak, that make it 5, and Shua, that make it 6. So when we take a look at it, pretty much, right, we got Isaac, okay, which lineage go to who? Jacob, okay. So you got 6 nations from Keturah, 1 nation from Agar, that make it already what? 7, plus Isaac, and make it 8, and Esau, that make it 9, and the list goes on and on. So definitely he's the father of many nations. Now 30, based on what? We don't know. Maybe he's speaking spiritually by all these nations coming out through the loin of Abraham, right? Let's keep in mind. Okay? Let's read it. It says, so Abraham was happy to be called the father of Isaac. And Isaac was also happy to be called the son of Abraham. Both were righteous. Both were perfect before the Most High. And be thou perfect. All right? It's a verse, I'm going to jump to paragraph 2. Despite his many excellent quality, Isaac married, right? Despite his many excellent quality, Isaac married late in life. So Isaac married late in life. So that's why you got to learn how to control ourselves. Yahawah permitted him to meet the wife suitable to him only after he had successfully disproved the mocking charges of Ishmael. So Ishmael was mocking, always making fun of who? Of our forefather Isaac. Okay, probably he was telling, oh, you barren, you can't have child, you can't have children, oh, blah blah blah, things like that, right? Who was in the habit of taunting him with having been circumcised at the early age of 8 days, while Ishmael had submitted himself voluntarily to the operation when he was 13 years old. Now, let me break you down what is happening. All right. So, Ishmael, right? The so-called Arabs, right? So, Ishmael, he was mocking our forefather Isaac. That the reason why he cannot have children is because they circumcised him at the 8th day. You see foolishness? That's what we tell you. You see, that's foolishness right there. You see what I'm saying? That's foolishness right there. Okay? Foolishness in the sense that Ishmael, he does not believe in the Most High. In the beginning, he cannot believe in the Most High to some point. But eventually, he returns to his idols. Okay? However, why would you open your mouth? The Most High did not give you no prophecy, nothing. And you open your mouth and you literally mocking Isaac, saying that the reason why he cannot have children is because they circumcised him on the 8th day. I'm going to tell you, the same thing happening. The Israelites that circumcised their son right? The Israelite that circumcised the son on the 8th day, don't you know that this heathen, they mock a lot of our brother and sister that circumcised the son? Yes, they do that. We know. They mock us, right? Because they find our heritage to be contrary to the heritage. Now, he got circumcised when he was 13 years old because the Mosai did not value him. The Mosai did not value Ishmael. Because if the Mosai valued him, the Mosai who had told Abraham, circumcise him on the 8th day. But the Mosai did not give no promise unto him. So the promise was merely to who? Abraham and Sarah. The promise was not made unto Abraham and Hagar. No. The promise was made unto who? Sarah and Abraham, that in the same time of this, the same day next year or some time, they'll have a son, a spiritual son, which is who? Isaac. So the Mosai chose that he's going to start the circumcision from who? The promised son, which is Isaac. So the Mosai cast to the side Ishmael, but Ishmael don't understand. However, he want to demonize Isaac, our forefather. And that's what most of this nation, they do. For example, when we tell them we don't eat pork anymore, when we tell them we don't eat no crabs, when we tell them that we got to keep the Shabbat, things like that, they demonize us. Some will call us Dracula. They say, well, you don't see the blah, blah, blah. They say all the time, they're mocking the Mosai. Like I tell the people, don't think you're mocking me, you're mocking the Mosai. Right? So keep in mind. So let's read it right here. This is the book of Genesis chapter 17. We want to prove everything. All right? Shalom, King. Shalom, shalom, right? We want to prove everything. So keep in mind. He say, let's read it. He say, despite his many excellent quality, Isaac married late in life. Imagine, late in life, just almost as his father. Understand that? Yahawashi permitted him to meet the wife suitable, right, to him only after he had successfully disproved the mocking charges of Ismail. So the brother was perfect. He was righteous. Still, the Mosai still put him to the trial, to the test, to be able to prove, to disprove Ishmael that he's wicked and he's a liar. He has no understanding. All right? Let's see. Who was in the habit of taunting him with having been circumcised at the early age of 8 days. So to him, they don't have circumcised him at the 8 days. That's the reason why he can have children. And I know some brother might have been accused of that. I guarantee you that if you go to our brother keeping the law, the commandment of the Most High today, they will tell you that people were mocking them, that the reason why they can have child is because maybe they got circumcised when they were 8 days, or because they don't eat pork, or maybe because they keep the Shabbat. They will say things like that because they're wicked, right? So while Ismail has submitted himself voluntarily to the operation when he was 13 years old, right? Watch this. Let's read this. So this is the book of Genesis chapter 17 and verse 17. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, shall a child be born to him that is 100 years old? Let's keep that in mind. And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? So today, we don't have faith. We don't believe. That's why we are exhorting the brother. When you pray, ask the Most High to give you wisdom and to strengthen your faith. So Yahawashi say, if we believe and we have faith, we can tell to this mountain to move and they'll move. All right? We can do so many things through the power of the Most High, through Yahawashi. We can do it. Now, we need faith. For you to have faith, you got to do what? You got to trust in the Most High. Now, you see this happen right here? All right? Abraham was like, he said, I'm 100 years old, my wife is 90. How can we have children? So he's kind of like between, he's kind of doubting in some ways, finding it strange, right? That's why we got to have faith. Because a little thing happen, we quick to run away from the Most High. A little thing happen, we quick to lose our faith. A little thing. Once we see the police on the door, then we freak out. We say, yeah, I ain't no Israelite. I ain't no Israelite. I don't know them. I don't know them. Somebody just, I don't know. I ain't no Israel. I don't know. No. That's what happened. You see, that's the spirit of our people. Or Esau come with a gun or the guillotine and say, listen, you got to eat the swine flesh. You got to eat the pork. You don't eat the pepper, we'll kill you. We'll do this. We'll fire you. Or the brother say, yeah, well, I'll eat it because I don't want to lose my job. Then the brother eat it. No, you can't do that. that means you ain't got no faith in the Most High. You ain't got no faith, right? A young brother that played basketball, as you can see, was forced to eat was swine flesh, right? Pizza with swine flesh or something like that, right? But the brother stood up. The brother said, I'm not going to eat it because it goes against my forefather lineage. It goes against my belief. You see, and that's the spirit. You go to the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, 2 Maccabees, chapter 7, and I'll be going to that Lord willing some coming day just to give understanding to the brother. We got to have faith. We got to believe. A little thing happen, you quick to run to your doctor. You have a little bit headache, then you go to your doctor. Oh, well, I want to make my faith. No, you don't believe in the Most High. When you have faith, you believe in the Most High. You hope in the Most High. He's the only one. Though you run to the doctor, the Most High still let you die. Right? Be in the hand of your own doctor. Though you go do the surgery, guess what? The Most High still let your doctor kill you. Understand that? Because your doctor cannot save you. Anyway, guess what? Was he hanging on a tree for you? No. So, what's going on? Understand who you are. And your trust got to be in the Most High. Watch this. And Abraham said unto Yahawah, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And Yahawah said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I'll bless him, and I'll make him fruitful, and I'll multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he begat. Okay? And I will make him a great nation. So the Arab, they're a nation apart. The Arab, the Ishmaelite, they're a nation apart. That's why I say it's 19 nations. Now, is it possible it's more than 19 nations? It's possible. Only the Most High knows it. Because sometimes we don't have the appropriate information. However, some brothers, some camps, they teach it's 18 nations. It's 19 nations. Because literally, when you go to Genesis chapter 10, you got what? 16 nations over there, right? Then you go to Genesis chapter 25. You got 2 more nations that will make it 18. Plus Genesis chapter 17, 12. You got 1 more nation. Ishmael, that's what he said. Let me read it. And I will make him a great nation. That's what the Most High said. I didn't say that. So, Ishmael is considered a nation. Alright? Because the Most High already said, I'll make thee a father of many nations. The son of Keturah, they constitute also nations. So keep in mind, it's super serious. All right, so let's continue. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, and that's what he does not understand. That's what the Arab boy does not understand. The Arab boy does not understand. The Arab boy, he does not understand that. Because if you have understanding, he will know that, okay, his God did not make the covenant with my mother. Okay, but his God, his power made a covenant with his mother. So that's why they got him circumcised at the day 8 after him being born. And you got circumcised when you turn 13 years old. Why? Because the promise was not for you. You see? He said, by my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. So Isaac literally, he was born when? He was born on the Passover. Okay, Isaac was born on the Passover day. Passover. All right, keep that in mind. He said, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. Right? You see that? In verse 23. Let's jump to verse 23. And Abraham took Ishmael his son, right? And all that were born in his house, and all that were brought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of the foreskin in the self same day, as Yahawah has said unto him. So keep in mind, you see that? Got circumcised. Got circumcised. He was what? 13 years old. Isaac got circumcised when he was 8 days. Because the promise was made unto who? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yashala. Let's go back to the book. let's go back to the book, right? Let's go back to the book, right? The legion, right? So as I say, what is the meaning of that word? The word legion, let's read it. It says, a traditional story, sometimes popularly regarded as well, historical, right? You see? So there we go. There we go. That's our history. Okay, let's continue to see what happened after that. For this reason, Yahweh demanded Isaac as a sacrifice when he had attained to full manhood at the age of 37. Right? And Isaac was ready to give up his life. So, Isaac was 37 years old when the Moses asked Abraham to go sacrifice him. 37 years old. Now, how many of our people have that spirit today? Rarely you can see. Being that obedient, being that meek and humble in spirit, at the age of 37 years old, oh my God, they be running their mouth. They know everything. Oh, blah, 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 don't tell me that. No, 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 no. You know, I'm not your baby anymore. Daddy, you can watch. 37 years old. And Isaac was ready to give up his life. So, it's a Ishmael, the Arab was just mocking Isaac through all those things. Where that's why they want to sacrifice 37 years old. Blah, blah, blah. He's just going off. Right? Ishmael, right? Jibes were that's robbed of the sting. And Isaac was permitted to marry, right? But another delay occurred before his marriage could take place. Directly after the sacrifice on Mount Moriah, right? Mount Moriah, which is Jerusalem, right? The word Moriah, that's another name for Jerusalem, all right? Mount Moriah, his mother died. So, okay, who? Sarah died. Because Satan went in and put things into her mind. And he mourned her for 3 years. Okay? Right? Finally, he married Rebecca, who was then a maiden of 14. So, we want to put out there. We ain't telling any brother. We're living in captivity. Understand that. Right here, we're reading in that Isaac, when he took his wife, Rebecca was only 14 years old. Now, are we telling you to go take a 14 years old in Babylon the Great or in France and marry? No, don't do that. Because you're going to be called what? How would you be called? Pedophile. You'll be called a pedophile. Now, if some brother believe in that, I'm not saying that is evil. Because we're reading right here. I read in the book of Jubilee and many other books the same thing, right? However, don't do it. This is Babylon the Great. You want to get a wife? Make sure she's mature, at least 18 years old. Make sure. Don't do anything foolish or silly. Don't do that because you're going to find yourself in a jail. I read that story a couple of days ago. I think it was last week. So Northern Kingdom, right? He got his wife. The wife, I think, is 14 or 15 years old. Something like that, 14 or 15 years old or 16 years old. Between the range of 14 and 16 years old, right? And Northern Kingdom, the guy, I think he was like, I can't remember how old was he. I think he was like 27 years old or 37 years old. Hey, he got arrested. When they went to give birth, it's legal. Whatever they do, it was legal before the mother. The mother probably, she is a whore or something, I don't know. The father is in a jail. According to the article, the father is in a jail for raping somebody. That's what the article says. We don't know if it's true. Esau wrote this article. We don't know it's true. Okay? We know Esau never loved Jacob. We know that. All right? So whatsoever they write to demonize our people. But the Most High know the truth. So, Northern Kingdom, when they went to a hospital, when he went to a hospital with his wife, with the girl, the 14 years old, 16 years old, right? To go deliver, to go give birth, guess what? They called the police, right? The Edomite nurses or doctor or whatever you name it, they called the police. The so-called white doctor or white people that were there, what did they do? They called the police. The police came and they arrested the Northern Kingdom. They said that pedophile. They call him pedophile, even though he's not. So you got to keep in mind. You got to keep in mind. Don't do that. I'm reading right here that Isaac was 37 years old when he married Rebekah, who was only 14 years old. Imagine, okay? Let me see. Okay, maiden age. Let me see. Go maiden age, right? Let's see. Maiden age range. Let's see. We will have an idea. You see, there we go. And they know this isn't the Bible. Listen, I never thought about this. Just the Holy Spirit moving me. All right, and I'm not reading. Because I just put on Google. I put maiden age range. I just put it maiden because right here when I read it, it say. Finally, he married Rebekah, who was then a maiden of 14 years old. All right, keep in mind. Bear with me. Let's go right here. All right, let's go in the book of Genesis, right? Let's go in the book of Genesis. All right. Let's go in the book of Genesis. All right. Let's go in the book of Genesis. All right. Go in the book of Genesis. All right. Let's go right here. Let's go right here when he get a wife. Okay. Rebecca comes to the well. Right here. Let's read this. So Isaac and Rebekah met. Right. This is the book of Genesis chapter 24. Genesis chapter 24 and verse 61. And Rebekah arose and her damsel, and they rode upon the camels and followed the men, and the servant took Rebekah and went his way. Right? And went his way. All right? And they went their way. That would mean Salakia. Salakia. I was just checking on something quick. Okay, Salakia. All right. So, as I was saying, so you got to keep in mind, right? So he said, and Isaac came from the way of the well, Lahai Roy, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted up his eye and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lifted up the camel. For she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. All right. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. All right. Let's read it. So everything matching up, everything I read earlier, we read that, well, Isaac, mother died, Sarah died. So 3 years he was mourning his mother. However, he got comforted marrying Rebekah. Let's read it. It said, and Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So keep in mind, right? So the definition of the word maiden, right? Maiden, what is the meaning, right? Let's prove it here quick, right? Let me show it to you quick, right here, right? Let me go ahead and let me see if I can highlight it quick, okay? Okay, so is the part in the blue, you can see, right? The part in the blue, okay, the blue part, that's the one. That's the meaning, the definition of the word maiden. All right, so I'm going to read it quick. Bear with me, I'm going to read it quick so we all can get an understanding, all right? So, maiden is a background, okay? So keep in mind, it's a marriageable, right? Marriageable age depending on the place or culture. So keep in mind, all right, depending on the place and culture, okay, appear roughly, right, be between 12 and 19 years old age. There we go, right on point. Actually from the 12 years old. So when you talk about a maiden, a maid is a girl that is 12 years old, from 12 years old all the way down to 19 years old. And we tell the brother, don't do that. Just be patient and get to yourself a woman or a girl that is past at least 18 years old or is at least 18 years old. At least. Don't take no 14 years old. Don't take no 12 years. You're going to go to the jail. Esau is going to land you in the jail. Just keep that in mind. All right? Don't make that mistake. All right? Don't make that mistake. Okay? You see, 20 is considered living marriageable age. You see that? So here, this scholar, they say, listen, King Quest, the website is called King Quest Fandom. So they say, when you leave a woman past 20 years old, they say you are not marriageable. They say you already past the marriageable age. You see? Heading to a life as a barren spinster. Okay, once you pass 20 years old, they consider you to be barren because you are not married yet. You ain't got no husband. Anyone between 12 and 19 appear also to be considered young girls. That's based on Esau, Edom. But also younger women. They also call them younger women. So keep in mind, don't do that, brothers and sisters. Don't do it. All right? Don't do that. Because you're going to go to the jail. Because I think they arrest the mother of the girl too. They arrest the mother of the girl. So brother and sister, we are not in the kingdom yet to understand that. Okay? We are not in the kingdom yet. So your daughter is 12 years old or 14 years old. Do not give her up to any man. Don't do that. Wait until your girl turn at least 18. This is America. You're going to land up in the jail. They will lock you up. Even though it be your daughter, whatever you think, or is your son, they will lock you up. So keep in mind, Esau is going to lock you up. So make sure you don't do that. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, he will lock you up. So keep in mind. All right. So we just want to put out there. So let's read it. Rebekah was a rose between thorns. Her father was the Aramean Bethuel, right? That's what we read, okay? And her brother was Laban, right? Exactly, we know. But she did not walk in their way. So Rebekah, she was righteous. Though some of her parents were wicked, some of her family members were wicked, she did not follow their way. She was righteous. Rebekah was righteous, okay? Keep in mind. And that's what we tell the brother and the sister. It's not because you live in a wicked Christian family or in a wicked family that you got to follow their way. You got to set yourself apart. You got to choose your own way. It's not because they're celebrating wicked pagan folly, Valentine's Day, wicked pagan President Day, wicked pagan Martin Luther King Day, folly. Don't do that. You don't do it. Oh, it's a 5 days killing. Don't do it. Rebekah, she did not follow their ways. Okay? So let us continue. Right? He said, but she did not walk in their ways. Her piety was equal to Isaac. Imagine that. She was righteous. All right, because a lot of you out there, you say no one is righteous. But we're reading right here that, well, Rebecca, let's read it again. It says her piety was equal to Isaac. She was righteous as Isaac. Who? Rebecca. Understand that. But she came from what? A wicked family. But she did not walk in their ways. So stop using excuses. The blaming game where Esau put the gun into your community, don't buy. Esau bring the drug in your community, don't buy. Esau bring the marijuana, don't buy. Don't kill your brother. It's not because you watch the movie, when you see the shooting there, you got to shoot. Don't do it. Or your mom is a Christian. You live Christianity. Follow the Most High. He said, nevertheless, the marriage was not entirely happy. You already know. It's no perfect marriage. Right? Many of our forefathers get a perfect marriage. But when we say no perfect, it's like there might be things, maybe they're looking to have children and they can have children. You know, some happen. Some happen. For they lived together no less than 20 years without begetting children. Imagine that. Imagine that. 20 years, they have no children. So what will happen? People be hissing at them. People be mocking them. Like who? Ishmael and the other nation. They be mocking him. That's what they did with Abraham. And the Most High is the one that make a woman or a man barren. It's the Most High who does it. And he's the only one that can uplift it. Okay? He said, for they lived together no less than 20 years without begetting children. You see, let's go to it. Genesis chapter, let's go right here. Genesis chapter 25. Okay, let's read it. Okay? You see, and these are the generation, Genesis 25 and 19. And these are the generation of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. Where do we read it? We read it in this book, The Legend of the Jew, the history of the Jew, the history of the so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Indian. All right. Let us continue. This is sweet. This is interesting. Rebekah besought her husband to entreat YAHAWAH for the gift of children, as his father Abraham had done. So Rebekah understood that the man is the head of the house. Rebekah understood that. And she told her husband, your father intercede for his wife. So go pray for me so that we can have children. Go pray for me that we can have offspring. Rebekah understood her position in the family. She understood that the man is the leader. Rebekah did not run to the social service